Right, well, seeing as I've got a minute, I'll make a little video on this because what it is, Sketchup is changing, and the biggest change is that there's no longer a free version of Sketchup available for download. There's a bunch of old free versions, the most recent one being the 2017 model. But yeah, now if you want to use Sketchup for free, you do it through a web browser. I don't feel particularly great about that, but then again, I haven't given it a fair shout. So anyway, the most popular SketchUp video I've got on my channel is one where I make a screw thread without using any plugins, and I thought, well, that would be an appropriate thing, because if you haven't realised yet, if you're using this for a browser through this interface you can see in front of you here, obviously you can't put any plugins on it. So yeah, knowing if you're going to have to use this because you're not going to buy the pro version and you don't want the old one for whatever reason, I mean, I still think the old one's fine, but it will go out of date as SketchUp progresses. That would be the problem. You're going to end up in a situation where, you know, you won't be able to use plugins. So let's get rid of this guy for a start. And yeah, I'm gonna make a start seeing if I can reproduce that screw thread in the same way using this. Now, I'm gonna model an M8, but I'm gonna do it much larger, so 8 becomes 800, because I presume this is in millimeters. Oh no, it's in inches. Okay, so that'll be the first thing to try and change. Can we change that? I don't want to sign in. I just want to change the right format. All right, okay. Okay, well, let's change it to meters, because then it will be easy to scale, because we know that it's 1,000 times bigger than it needs to be, which should mean that we won't have any problems getting the the scale of the thing. You know, when you work with SketchUp at small scales, it can give you strange errors because of the way it calculates stuff, probably. So yeah, we're going to do an M8 thread. So it's going to be, well, let's call it 8 by 1, just to see what orientation we're in. 8 by 1. Okay. Maybe we don't want it like that. Oh no, we do. So that represents a section of 1 millimeter. Now, if we look at our image here, we need to know the pitch. Now, I believe that an 8mm thread has got a pitch of 1.25. M8, yeah, pitch 1.25, brilliant. Okay, so instead of doing it 8 by 1, we'll delete this. Okay, and I'm trying to get used to this new interface. This is sort of a review as much as a tutorial, because I am, oh no, I don't want to do that. I am not sure about this in the slightest. I think it might be a dodgy move on Trimble's part. Right, 8 by 1.25. Fantastic. Right, so where's my tape measure? There it is. Yep, that's 8. So the other one must be 1.25. Yes, it is. Okie dokie. So, at this point, I'll probably start speeding things up. Because, obviously, it'll be well boring watching me do this slowly. But, let me explain exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw the profile of the thread onto a flat shape. And once I've got that, I will basically put cross-sectional planes through each of the major lines, and they will differ on each side in direction. You'll see what I mean sort of when I do it, but what that'll do is create a sort of cookie cutter thing. Then with two cylinders and the intersect faces tool, we mark those lines onto the cylinder and then remove them, or remove the object that you intersect the cylinders with, and then fill in the shapes until you have a decent screw thread. There's a couple of things I'm not going to do. I'm not going to round or flatten the pitch troughs or peaks because, well, I want to keep it as simple as I can, and for representation that's not really necessary, because you know that if you cut that thread with a tap or die, that's what you're going to get. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I need to do is do another flat shape for my core size. Now, let's find the midpoint. Okay, we have a midpoint. We have center line. We're cooking with gas. Now, the internal of the thread will be... Okay, we can calculate that from the lines we've already got. We've got enough to do that maths. Because we know that it's going to be 60 degrees. So now we want to use the shape tool. We want to give it 3 sides. And we can have a triangle then. Okay. Now, because that's an equilateral triangle, we know that that is 60 degrees. As you can see, I've kind of missed that there, but it should be alright, because Sketchup usually lets you pick up parallelness, and it still does on this web version. Okay, so that's an important one. That's what we want. Now, if we get that face, copy it. You see the inevitability of the maths being right from the few numbers that we use to get that. Well, let's check it. We've got the tape measure, so 1.0825. That sounds about right. And that would mean, let's just quickly put a construction line in there, at the core should be about 6-ish, 5.834, yeah. And if you took into account that at the bottom there's going to be a little thing, then yeah, it is about 6-ish. That's why the tapping drill for that would be 6. So, let's delete that construction line. Probably got a vertex there I don't want now as well. Not that it's greatly important, but just for neatness. Get rid of that, put that there. Okay. Have a profile. Now, with this, you can see I've offset the bottom triangle by half the thread, half the pitch of the thread. And now you just join the inners to the inners. and you join the outers to the outers, and you'll notice that these lines don't run parallel to each other, but they do really. In 3 dimensions they do. Right, so these directly pointing down ones we want to get rid of. Right, so now we've got a 2-dimensional drawing of our thread floating in midair, which is exactly what we want. Now then, if we next go into this view, more that way, we want to start getting our cookie cutters. So, I will say about this, it's everything's very familiar. It is very much the vanilla controls. They've emulated that quite well in their web interface. Now what we want to do as well, should have done that previously, is copy that bit and paste it over there, and then we want to flip that, but I'm not sure which way, so let's try the green direction first. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Now, let's grab that and put it nope. We want the tops and the bottoms to marry up. Okay. Well, that's alright. Right, what way round are we? We're going from that point to that point in this orientation. So we must be going from that point to that point in this orientation. Okay. I'll just draw that in solidly so that we know where we are on this plane. Now with any luck, if I draw a line from that one to that one, we'll get the opposing, well, get the opposing direction at least. Yes, I want the drawing tool, please. I think my mouse might be going a bit funny. The middle button stays pressed in. Cool. Yeah, that's what we want. Right, let's just clean up these extra bits. Right then, okay, the next step would be to use the circle tool. Before we do, I want to extend out my center line along the green direction a little bit, and I want to measure that again because I've forgotten what it was. Okay, let's give it a helping hand, give it a guideline. Right, and also it was 2 point what? 2 point something. Let's measure that again. Should have written it down. I was too busy talking to you. Okay, 2.9175. Make sure it's on this. Oh, come on. What's going on there? Okay, so I've run into my first problem with this. It's not picking up very well on the thing I'm trying to do. So let's try and come up with a workaround. Let's just go into just have a rectangle for a minute. Okay, we've got a rectangle. Let's have another one the other way. And then another one that way. No, we want to come down from there. Give me the vertexes I want. Is that even parallel? Okay, where's my views? I want to go orthogonal, please. Don't know where it is. I just want to go into orthogonal view. This shouldn't be anything like hard. That's disappointing. Disappointment number one. Can't find orthogonal. Oh shit. Didn't mean to leave that there. I just wanted to glance at it really. 2.9175. Let's get that circle tool. Right, now that should be the one we want for that style of thing. Where's my rubber? There it is. Copy that. And that will form the basis of the one we'll do in a minute. In fact, we'll do that over there now. So the outer dimension was well, probably 4. Right then. Where's extrude? There's extrude. And we want to go that way with that one, about that far. Yeah, that way with that one, about that far. Brilliant. Okay. Now, before I go any further, so what we've got then is this thing that will cut the lines in the cylinders. And we've got 2 cylinders. And this thing has got an orientation thing for the cylinders. This is exactly where we want to be. So far so good. Now then, what we really need to do is turn these all into groups. So, okay, yeah, make group is still there. Make that a group. And make that a group. Now that doesn't need to be permanent, but it does mean that we can now plonk these on top of these without causing anything untoward. So plonk that there. And then if you make sure you grab it by the top vertex in the circle, it'll always be lined up. Okay, now we only actually need to get one section, and then later on we can copy and paste. You've probably seen the other video where I do it. So for now, the main thing to do is to get these, and we want to use intersect faces with model. We want to do the same thing for the internal one. Okay, cool. And then, if we remove this cookie cutter, brilliant. Now, that's exactly how we wanted it to be. And if I just now get the rubber out, what we've ended up with is all these lines have been scored onto these cylinders, and they've become well, they are correctly orientated with each other in regards to the lines that have been cut on them. So now if I remove these lines, then I remove this face, you'll see, look, the internal one is lovely. Yeah, the only trouble is that it hasn't scored them onto the model. Those lines that it's put on are outside the model, which is a bit silly. Oh well. Right, let's go back a bit in our undo scheme. Right, okay, so we need to make sure we're editing the model, the component group even. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit better. Should be. Well, that's bullshit. Fucking dickhead. Right. Well, let's see what we can do with it like that then. Which is going to be wrong, but it's not picking up the intersections I want. So, again, we're going to have to find a workaround in a minute. At least the external cylinder should be right. Yeah, that looks better. Now the lines that we had are actually part of this rather than being anything else. Let's remove that. And the first thing to know is on the big one you get both sets of lines. Well, you do on the little one as well, to be honest. And it's about knowing which ones are which is why orthogonal view makes it really easy, because you can just look at the side and go, alright, get rid of them ones. Oh well, never mind. Right. Well, we know that place is going to be wrong because it's parallel. We know those are going to be wrong because they finish halfway. Meaning, what we get left with is the right one. And one thing I will do is try and remove the softening. Right, that'll do for me. That's enough to get into the swing of it. So now what we're going to do is come out of there, come out of that one, work on the middle one. Right, or maybe not. Oh wait, I wonder, if those lines are on the outside already, then maybe that has helped us out. Yeah, it has, actually. Because now I can just remove this cylinder and it's completely out of the way. And all I need to do is make sure that I delete the right line, which will be... it'll be the line with a gap at the top that will be wrong. Because physics doesn't allow that when you actually come to make it out of metal or plastic or whatever. And that should then correspond to that vertex. Just make sure that that's the right one. Yep. Okay. And that should correspond now to that vertex. Lovely. Okay. So then the next one should be there. Brilliant. and try do the same that way. Okay. Now before we get too carried away, fantastic. Okay. Well, the next bit is very much the same as what I've just done there, but a bunch of times. Okay, now what's not being selected if I do that? Okay. And put it somewhere else. It's taking the whole thing. Okay. Not a problem. Doing it that way just means that if there's any floating lines or remnants of old sections and things, we can just do away with them. And we can, yeah, just pretty much nix the entire thing without worrying about breaking it, because obviously the original's over here. Clean it up a bit before we start copying things. Might as well just carry on filling in the lines. He's doing a lot better that way. He's actually getting some progress. Oh, no, that one's gone wrong. What's happened here? Interesting. Why would you do that? Ah, because it's not quite where I want it to be. Because of that one. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a whole rotation. Just wondering if we should fill this section in. Nah, we should be alright. That should be enough. Okay, so we're at that point. Now, if I go Control C, Control V, Control V, just to make sure we don't break anything, we'll use separate ones again. And I want to grab that. I don't like this. That might cause weirdness. I might have done it wrong. Okay. it's not too bad. I mean, I do lose some neatness points for that, but it has worked. Okay, well, that's alright then. And that's the trick then, you just copy paste it, and copy paste it, and copy paste it, until it's as long as you want. So we want the select tool, get that. Copy paste. And then get that point and put it about there. Everything joins. Get the same point and put it about there. Everything joins. Get the same point, put it about there. You get the idea. Okay, so we've got the basic shape of it. Then to neaten it off, now have I not got an orient basis? Okay, don't seem to have. So there you go. That is a screw thread drawn in. Yeah, there's the opposite side of that problem. So you get this on one side, and you get this on the other if you don't sort out your lines properly. But the rest of the dimensions work alright. So yeah, that is your method for doing that. Now I really want to. I wonder actually. Got a bit of the other one as well. No, I didn't get the whole thing. There we go. Right, so we got the whole thing there. Let's see if we can smoothen it. No. Smoothing doesn't seem to want to work in this. So yeah, I'm not particularly impressed with this web version of SketchUp, but should you ever be pressed to use it for whatever reason, that's how you can draw a screw thread with it. And like I said, be careful of the way that you do these joining lines, because they will give you some crapness in your model. Then again, it's not absolutely terrible. I mean, it just gives you a few extra lines here. Really, it's the worst bit of it. I'm sure if you remove them, it would cause all sorts of jiggery-pokery. In fact, let's just see what it does. Oh, you can remove them. Oh, well, that's alright then. Maybe it's fine. Oh well. Yeah, the only thing is it makes it a bit weird still there. But if you can live with that, I suppose it's not terrible. So yeah, screw thread in SketchUp 3, which is a web browser based version of SketchUp. I hope that's of some use to you. I hope it was of more use than the old one as well, because the old one was done with a camera pointing at my screen, so it was terrible, and I wasn't saying anything, so I wasn't explaining a lot. With any of that, this is a better way of doing things going forward. But yeah, see, now I've got that and it's all neat. I can have that as long as I want now. Just have to grab a suitable point. There we are. Now I've got a lot of vertexes on here. It's starting to chug a bit, actually. That's something I don't like. It's getting a bit overwhelmed trying to send this through my connection. Let's get that. Okay, so yeah, that's a thing. A screw thread in this. So, just to recap, just remember, you've got to make the profile of the thread and then flip it round and do one way on one side with the cut plates. I'm going to call these the cutting plates of our cookie cutter, and then the opposite direction on the other side, but make sure that they start at the same peaks and the same troughs on each side, and use an equilateral triangle, because you know it's 60 degrees on this thread, so 60 degrees is an equilateral triangle. I mean, if you're using any other sort of thread, you'll have to find out the angles and stuff before you start. Could get a Zeus book, actually. That would be a good idea. Get a Zeus book. Everyone should get a Zeus book. If you don't know what I mean, Google Zeus book. That should probably be another video I could do. It's like the Bible, except useful. It is the machinist's Bible. Yeah, get a Zeus book if you ever do anything useful with your life. That's one thing. Yeah, this gets very, very chuggy very quickly. Can't handle it. There, I've crashed it. Right, so there's another indictment of this version of Sketchup. Oh no, it's back. I mean, that's getting to be quite a lot of vertexes. Like that. This is fast becoming something you wouldn't really want to use in a game. But then again, no, I've seen more polygons in games on objects. It would be nice to know how many polygons that is, actually. But I can't see where I am because of this goddamn camera. Ah. Yeah, I don't like that. Ow, God. There we go. Right. Yeah. So there's a screw thread. I'm just a bit disappointed I can't see it in orthogonal view. Ah. No, I don't want to be moving it. Let me just select something else so it goes away. There we go. There's not much left to say about that, I suppose. I'm going to line it up for the thumbnail. Oh, I wonder actually, now it comes to it, we can probably play around with some of these styles. That might be my thumbnail image. Let's put it at a jaunty angle. Let's try a few more just to... I'm not sure how much of this I'll leave in. Do you know what? That'll do me. Okay, gonna stop recording now. So yeah, I hope that's been of any use to you. I'm going to stick with SketchUp 2017 as much as I can, because to be honest, it exports to Collada. I think this does as well. Like you can export your things to another format and then bring it into, say, Blender or whatever after you've downloaded the file. But at the same time, if they're going to nix the power of SketchUp so much and not make it so that I can use things like 1001-bit tools, which will just produce me a stairway or a roof or whatever straight away without any fuss, why? I don't see why I would then carry on using SketchUp. It would be more economical to find something similar for Blender, because ultimately that's probably where the majority of the work being done to the model will be done. So yeah. Anyway, it's one to think about, whether or not this is any good. So I'm going to stop recording now. Take care.